second. Pretty catchy. Alfred Gibson song. Every shingle on my house is gone. So anyway, that was, somebody shared that on our supporter side. And there you go. So credit to Alfred Gibson. He wrote that. Kind of catchy. But it was kind of depressing, actually. It kind of set the mood down a little bit. You know, so now I got to pep myself back up with some caffeine. So good morning, everybody. What's cooking? Let's put our favorite place in the planet, ABC, up. Thanks to ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Soon to have Hurricane Hunter. Oh, the clock. Man, Shelly, you think I'd remember this stupid clock, man? That's what, 18 days in a row now? I'll have it figured out by next season. So here's our boy. Good morning. We're going to do a little romper room session. Let's say hi. Yeah, Timothy, it's another week away, I think. I think it's slowly hitting the trucks. Snowman is trucking Hurricane Hunter beer across Texas state lines, man. And the Bandit. So anyway, say hi to everybody. All right, so we got lazy morning, kind of wet and humid here in Oldsmar. We had rain all day yesterday. South Florida feels like a hurricane right now. We have World Series coming on, Miguel, yes. Go Rays. What's up, Gunner? What's up, Katie? What's up, Whitney? Breaker 19. I love Smoking the Bandit. What do you think, buddy? Has he grown yet? So the story behind Hurricane Hunter, by the way, you guys named him. Back when we got him, before we even picked him up from the breeder, we all named him. I asked you guys every day, and Hunter finally stuck. So he is officially named by Mike's webpage, and he officially is a beer now. He's so cool. All right, let's say hi to Louie real quick, and then we'll get talking about the weather. So here's a cool picture, by the way, on ABC's site. I'm going to have to try this. Look at this. You can make glowing gin and tonic. ABC has a recipe. Never thought about having fun with liquor before, but we can make black light gin and tonic. Be a perfect thing for out in the front of the driveway. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to tag Julie in this, because that sounds like the perfect, I don't know if I can tag her unless she likes the page. Nope. That sounds like, we always sit in the driveway here, have a little block party at the house. So that's, we are making black light gin and tonic. What's up, Lisa? Morning. Happy Tuesday. What's up, Bill? Howdy, Louie. Pups are doing good. Louie's getting ready to snore. A little bit to talk about weather-wise. We'll get in on it real quick. Shelly, I can do it to my personal page. Yes. All right. So, it has to be completely dark. Well, this would be the official drink of hurricane season, man. When it's completely dark outside, we have a hurricane, and there's no power. Let's make black light gin and tonics. That'd be great. So here's the tropics map. Let's take a look at that. I'll hold Louie for a few minutes. Groveland, I know where that's at, Susan. We drive through Groveland heading to Claremont. My aunt lives there, the Citrus Tower. We have softball. Gabrielle, yeah, he's a daddy's boy, all right. Pretty laid and laid back. Everybody thinks that he's high on gin and tonic, but he's not. All right, so let's talk about, there's a few things weather-wise. All right, so we got Bermuda watching Epsilon. We have big high pressure over Florida bringing in a lot of moisture, and it's kind of getting it from both ends today. Low pressure down here spinning. So we have a convergence zone here, South Florida. And then we have the tropics casually watching lower pressure, and it's only at 10% today. So the good news, at least for now, look at this little guy out here. What the heck's that all about? I have to remind you, the season is not over until November 30th. Hey, is it Jeannie? Or Janine? Janine. I'm terrible with names. But hey, from Bermuda. So you're going to get a squall line, it looks like, overnight Friday into Saturday there in Bermuda. All right, we're going to put Louis down. So there's that. So let's look at, oh, here, by the way. Okay, I get this question a lot. Let's leave this up here real quick. There's Tammy Harvick. What's going on? So everybody always wants to know La Nina, El Nino, La Nina. This is the wintertime pattern for La Nina. And we are in a La Nina pattern right now. So what that means is possibly a little bit warmer for the East Coast states, Carolinas. Wetter across the central U.S., north, Tennessee north, Georgia, Alabama, then dry across the south. That's just a jet stream pattern. This is what it brings. Jet stream doesn't dip down as far, so the cold weather stays more north, possibly. A little more wetter, actually, less snow. So it could be a little less snow for the East Coast, drier for the South. But this is typically wet out in Oregon and Washington, parts of California. So this is the winter you can look forward to. Just a little tidbit wanted you to see. Michael, Louis for president. Yeah, what do you think about that, huh? You want to be president? Huh? He's such a good boy. All right, I'm gonna put you down, all right, because you're heavy. You're 11 pounds. We got spider time. Let's see. You stay. Pretty good boy, isn't he? Good boy. All right. So there's the La Nina pattern. I get that question a lot. So that's what to kind of expect. Drier in the south, less snow maybe along the East Coast. Just less snow in general. So, hey, David. All right. So, all right. Well. So here is the spot. Well, let's look at the what we have. The for real deal. We have tropical storm Epsilon, 45 miles an hour, and the latest track has it just east of Bermuda. And we have people from Bermuda because Janine just said hello from Bermuda. So here's the track. Here's Bermuda, kind of on the edge of the cone. Timing puts it a hurricane here. 2 a.m. the 23rd. What would that be? Friday night? Or Friday, or Thursday night. 2 a.m. the 23rd would be. See, I always get confused. 2 a.m. October 23rd. That would be Friday night, I think. Or no, it'd be Friday 2 a.m. So Thursday night. That makes sense. So Thursday, it starts to near. Friday, and then Saturday, it's gone. Now, I showed an image earlier as far as what you might expect. Even though our track is ticking a little bit to the east more and more, we could still see Saturday 2 a.m. possibly a band of rain coming in to Bermuda as it passes. So this is just something to think about. Friday night into Saturday morning could be, this is a rain and thunder map, and we could see as our center is here, we could still see some outer bands making their way into Bermuda. So even though the track's going east, nothing major, just rain and thunder, just normal stuff. But now the GFS is just a little bit more to the east, enough that you might not get that rain band. So that's a big question mark will be how close. Why was it not radar? Come on. Oh, it doesn't do radar on GFS. So just something to think about. But as far as a direct hit, doesn't look like it. Could be some gusty winds. Tropical storm winds. And that would be Friday night into Saturday morning. as it moves away. So there you go. Nothing you guys can't handle, that's for sure. A little bit more windier on the Euro. This is the Euro. So it could be windy Friday into Saturday night. Euro's predicting 60-mile-an-hour gusts Saturday 3 a.m. So it could be, tropical stormish as it passes by. So there you go. Kind of looks like a ugly little Epsilon. Kind of looks like a storm, I guess. Here it is on Weather Nerds. By the way, it's got a little bit of blowing up around the center right now. Most of the convection has been well off to the east, but it is hanging on. It's a pretty big, wide system. And there you go. Let's take a look at that. Then we'll slowly get into what's happening in Florida and down in the Caribbean. So, what's up, Alexis? Yeah, then you'll get it. You're right. Everything curves towards England. So pretty odd looking little guy. We got some shear up here. The core of the system's technically kind of where the blow up is, so it's hanging on. And this is the big tail that could whip around and hit the backside of Bermuda possibly. So that's what we got to watch for, right? So, might be a hurricane coming. Not the best looking system, but it's kind of connected actually to this mess down in Florida. If you get down into it. This is weathernerds.org, by the way. Great do-it-yourself satellite. But look at this. It's all connected to this trough here. Look at that. All the way to Florida. Look at that. So the tail of Epsilon arguably is bringing the action into Florida. Look at that. I just draw like a... So that is connected to Epsilon. It's part of... you got to fill your Louis cup. I got mine filled up. Look at that, Whitney. Cheers, man. So I joined Corey's supporter page because he did ours, so we kind of washed each other out, kind of like voting, I guess. But he's got a supporter page too, and a lot of our fans are supporters of Corey. So I was checking out his live last night, and he does a good job. If he's on here, I don't know. So hey, what's up, Rochelle? The Bermuda low interact with the high north of it or any low system? Well, the high is going to move out as our Bermuda, our Epsilon pushes up. If that makes sense or not. But this is a front. So here's what we got. This is what's happening in the weather world. Kind of a stalled out front that's producing this little low pressure system. It's even marked down here. So there's our low. This is slowly, kind of connected to Epsilon, old front. So there's our low. This is the 10% spot they're watching here on the NHC map. And we're going to watch that here real quick. So let's look at Florida, see what's going on with Florida. And then we'll talk about the 10% spot. So Florida's been getting hammered pretty good. Lots of flooding from king tides down to Miami, all the way up, actually everywhere pretty much. But Miami especially has been getting flooding rains. This is this morning, Key West. Really getting hit hard. This is all energy just kind of connected to this low pressure down there. But look at that. Heavy rains across the East Coast again this morning, but big time rains. Both sides of the state had marine warnings this morning in Florida. So look, we got BOGO. You get a marine warning on the West Coast, you get a marine warning on the East Coast. The year of BOGO. But man, it's been pretty intense down there. A lot of weather warnings again today. These are going to stay a little bit more south today, south and east. So a little drier here. This does appear to stay a little bit more to the south today. Eventually it's going to move on out of here, but not for a couple days it looks like. Here's let's take a look into time here. 24 hours. So tomorrow, let's see, we got the timestamp on this one. This is going through tomorrow, tonight. 48 hours, still hanging on. This is Wednesday, tomorrow during the day. Look at that, South Florida. So this is I-4. The red line's I-4. So again, rainy day tomorrow. Thursday, it kind of leans up a little bit. So And then Friday back to normal. So another day of heavy South Florida rains, and then it should start to wean off a little bit. And then our map stops. What's up with that? So yucky day, indeed. Patricia, yeah, somebody will. Hurricane care packages, what's that? Rain yesterday, yeah, Janice, or Janice. Man, I'm bad with names. Sorry. I just call you Jay. So who got a Ring doorbell? That's pretty neat. Only problem is our doorbell points. our doorbell points sideways. So I guess you could. I did my mother-in-law's. You can angle it, I guess. But I have a cool Ifree. What the hell is it called? I got his back. I got an EUFY security system. And look, there's me coming in off the bus today. See, there I am. That's what I'm wearing. That was me at 9:12. So they're pretty cool. Let's see, what was I doing last night? I always like to look at myself coming home, especially after I come home with. I was working on the Halloween lights last night. See, I'm out there working on the lights. I can always look back and see what I was doing. Oh yeah. But anyway, Ring doorbell. All right, so tropic wise, here is our spot. Now remember, this is the spot. Here's spaghetti models too, by the way. Everything's trending east of Bermuda. So will this be the last spaghetti models this season? I don't know. Hey Sarah, you got one. I like it. The battery lasts 6 months. Here's Bermuda, by the way. So will this be the last spaghetti models of the season? Maybe. I don't know. Everybody thinks the season winds down as soon as we start getting cold fronts, but here's the shear, by the way. Shear's heavy. It's creating all this instability across Florida. Heavy shear. But all right, so tropics wise, this was the spot last week that all the models were showing. The 22nd, remember? This is that spot. Still 10%. Chris Farley, yeah, I saw the meme. I saw the Chris Farley, we haven't shown this in a while, El Nino. This is hilarious. I love it. Look. This is... El Nino.
Soy El Nino. For those of you who don't habla español, El Nino is Spanish for the Nino.
So there you go. So Mrs. Chris Farley, there you go. All right, so nothing's happening in the Gulf there, Judith. We're really kind of just watching this crazy convection down in South Florida, but it's really nothing. It's just a boundary. So there's nothing tropical in the Gulf. Lots of shear. Zero signs of any development down there. The only thing we got though is this. So we got this. All right, so let's go back to the NHC. So we have this. This is the 5-day chance of development, 10%. Now this was the one that we were looking at. Almost all the models except the Euro just a couple days ago was showing development. Every model but one, King Euro. The Euro this season is this. 1/4/27. So I might have got it right. Euro had weak energy coming up, staying weak, and then getting absorbed by a front. So that appears to be what's happening. All the models are pretty much caught up. This is just a weak low pressure area. Could bring some rain to the Yucatan and maybe even South Florida Sunday, Monday, Tuesday next week as it kind of merges with the front and gets on out of here. So 10% is nothing to stress about for sure. That's good news. The models, let's take a look at the models. So the only thing that still keeps my eye peeled or open on it, this is the Global Tropics Hazards Map. Now, this was updated the 17th, a couple days ago. It shows you that the previous update had our red circle here. and it's showing you that. Now it updated it as just a rain spot, but it's still keeping development area possible down here, and that's through the 27th. So the global tropics map said, okay, this ain't going to happen. It's just going to be rain, but they're keeping that spot alive through another 7 days. So this is definitely, not over yet. A couple models still indicating that we could still have lingering low pressure down there and try to do something. So that's what we just got to watch. So, 72 hours out. Here's our week low that we're watching now. This is the one that we were thinking was going to do that, but it's still here. But look, now 72's out. We got another low pressure system. We got another wave. So it's not over yet. Not hyping nothing up. Just saying, hey, there's NHC is still showing the possibility that we could have something brewing down there in a week. So let's take a look at all the models. El Nino. So Judith, yeah, we're good. Good morning, y'all. What's up, Michael? Chinese face mask. What's the blob? Yeah, Susan, that's a good question. Got a little bit of tropical wave here, way off of Africa. That never know. Never know. All right, so here's the Caribbean spot. Then we're gonna look at all the models. So the only thing interesting with the Caribbean spot is it does have a little bit of low pressure spin. There is a lot of shear to the north, but we are getting, even at 700 millibars, we got a broad low pressure spin here. So that is the only spot that I guess we could kind of watch. 500 winds are pretty weak, but there is slight spinach here off the coast of the Yucatan, and we'll see. The as far as convection goes, very little. That's because we got a lot of shear down there. You can just see, look at the clouds, just strong winds. So it's hard to develop when you have that much shear. Even though we got all this ocean heat content, and we have MJO, and we got the positive this and that, you still have to have light shear. And right now, the shear is winning down there, and that's keeping things in check. Strong shear, and it's increasing. So this whole general area has got a lot of shear. So that was something, like I said, it wasn't in the forecast last week. Shear is so hard to predict. It's never, I don't even waste any time looking at long range shear forecasts because they always bite you. But there's heavy shear going on right now. So that's why we're not seeing any development. Even though we're seeing an anticyclone down here, kind of where the NHC is marking it maybe. No, they're keeping it right here between. Let me close some windows here. Close some windows. So if I got up and actually closed the window, that'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it? I could put a fake window over here. We could put like a little window over, like my donkey. That's what we should do. Look at this. I should draw a window. Look at this. This is what we should do. We should draw a window like this, and then when I say I'm going to close the window, it'd be like, I'm just going to say, all right, we're going to close the window. I'm going to do like this, and the window will go boop. And we could have another logo. I could have like a ABC special of the week right there. So check this out. So I got a thing in the mail. This is pretty exciting. I'll share with you guys. I'm winning some City of Oldsmar award. And it was supposed to be presented to me tonight, but Emily's first softball game of her high school career is tonight, and I am not missing that for the world. So they're going to work with me on postponing it, but kids come first, right? So I have to email them. We have to work on a date to redo that, but. So, anyway, but that was one of them things. All right, so let's look at all the models. Let's take a look. There's our witch, by the way. I posted that. It was kind of funny. That's being shared all over the internet. It's a witch. What else we got on the site here? I got to look at. Anything new, exciting? No. I had to find out who won the generators from Furman. That was run. We announced our Mac Daddy's giveaway. I think we're going to do something next week again. Something they were the winner was on here yesterday. Excited. I forget the name. So don't forget, if you guys are looking to refinance your house or mortgage, these are Florida-based Streamline. Make sure you give them a shout. Now is the time. You can get a new mortgage and buy a generator. So check them out. All right, so everything else on the website looks good. There's our temperature map. I haven't added anything new. This is interesting here. This is the wave map on Fox or my Fox Hurricane. But we got big waves in the forecast coming for the East Coast. So as Epsilon moves away towards next week, we're going to see some pretty big swells coming in towards the East Coast. You'll look at these winds. You can start to see them inch. Look at. The yellow is 10 foot plus. Look at. Here it comes. Bam. Let's see. When is that? That would be. Let me stop it. So that would be. Boop. Well, let's see. God darn it. Stop. All right. So. I hate these little buttons. All right. What the heck is going on here? All right. There we go. Now stop. I don't understand these buttons. It automatically starts playing again. This is pause. Oh, there we go. All right. So all that for that. So the big winds come 6 hours out. That would be Friday this week, couple days, 3 days from now. So the big waves from Epsilon will be making their way to the Outer Banks. Now, somebody was asking about the Outer Banks this week. Going to be windy or wavy, not really windy. We got to do have a front coming down, but anyways, could be some big coastal event coming from Epsilon. That's what I'm getting at as this comes. Even the east coast of Florida into the weekend. So that's on that map. Let's see if there's any other cool maps to look at, and then we'll start talking about the individual model runs. I always like to see my maps here because they got so much cool stuff. This was posted earlier. This is long range hazard outlook. Heavy rain for 10/22 to 23. That's front comes down. Heavy rain, Panhandle into Alabama, close to Mississippi. Storm Prediction Center, nothing cooking for the next few days. That's good news. Here's the beginning of our next front coming down, a little bit of instability. So snowfall, I know one thing, I was looking at the snowfall maps, and could be some heavy snow predicted across the U.S. here the next week. So check this out. So snowfall, already starting to see some down into Texas. So in a week, we could have snow all the way down to Texas. So half the country, look at that. Bam. Heavy rains or snow into Minnesota and Wisconsin already for the next week. And then stretching all the way into Texas, Oklahoma. Big old swath of snow here through next midweek. So that's kind of coming. So. All right. So we'll go to tropical tidbits. So let's look at all the models. Let's take a sip of coffee. Slow down a little bit. Hey, Sandy Brown, Grand Bahamas this weekend? No, I think you got. We'll look at it, but well, let's look at it really close. I think the front will be to your west before the weekend. Let's take a look. We'll go on. So. Yeah, well, see, now the GFS is picking it up. So I don't know. I mean, it looks like all that stuff. The front's going to pick up this. This is Saturday. Maybe. This is the big front coming down Monday, Tuesday. So that would be the big rain maker. Now the GFS is starting to show more development. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But I mean, Bahamas. It's just going to be spotty. Nothing organized. What's up, Mike from New York area? Well, let's see. This week's front coming down. Well, let's see. Just since I had a request for New York. So this front coming down this weekend, right here, boom, this is Saturday. I don't know if we're going to have any storms with it or not, but could get a little windy. This is Saturday morning. So this weekend's front is right here. This is Saturday morning. There's our front. So yeah, I mean, New York could be a little windy, possibly, as our front comes by. Sunday will be nice. So Saturday's your windy day. So, all right. So the models don't really have much going on. So let's just show you. So the GFS is. Let's show you all the models. Then we'll go to the GFS. So the Euro. Now you can see our week low already shown up on the Euro. This is what we already saw this. This is picking up on our low pressure system right here. So the Euro shows that little low pressure getting into the Gulf, not doing anything. Front coming down Friday. This is the one hitting the Saturday. Kind of gets merged up. And nothing really to worry about. And then going to the 10 days, really nothing. We're looking at this wave out here. You don't really see anything. You know, as we've learned with models, though, who knows what tomorrow will bring. But in the short term, we're looking right here. So nothing. The Canadian showing you the same thing. Low pressure right here. This is current. There it is. This is current right now, Tuesday. There it is. There's a little low pressure system going in time. You know, maybe a little bit over the Yucatan tomorrow and Thursday as far as rains. Gets down in the Gulf. This is, you know, the pattern. Now, here's where you might get tricky in the Bahamas. Remember, I posted this earlier today on my Facebook. Early, like when I get up at 5:45 now for Emily. Here's the GFS precipitable water. So, two scenarios. Weak low pressure energy crosses the Yucatan, gets merged in. So our models always suggested a piece of this is going to form and shoot off towards Bahamas and Florida. That was the first scenario that we kept seeing last week. So the CMC is kind of back to that. Here's Sunday morning. A little bit of low pressure system. You know, that was what we were looking at all last week, was this. Initially, this is now a little low pressure, but a little bit gets left behind. CMC showing a little shot of development, and then it dies. So that's kind of the same thinking. Two pieces of energy, low pressure. You know, could bring rain. This is later Sunday, but that's just one model. You know, but you can get the idea. We just have a big general low pressure setup down here. Now the GFS parallel model, kind of showing the low pressure going up into the Gulf, no development. You can kind of follow it with the vorticity there. But anyway, just nothing. Kind of follows it right here. Kind of does that. Very weak. Overnight, same thing. Nothing. So that's good. Not doing anything. Navy model kind of does what the CMC was doing. Initial low pressure over the Yucatan tomorrow. Secondary low pressure down here. Kind of tries to bring it up Monday. So I mean, yeah, that's you know, that's the whole time frame we were looking at. You know, this. So yeah, you could say there's 10% chance. That's what the NHC is saying. So the Navy, you know, whatever. So there's a Navy model. So, you know, low confidence that's going to happen. But hey, you know, one model. Here's double 00Z shows it just a weak low pressure over the weekend heading off that way. So very, very weak signs. You know, low pressure. Now the new GFS throws a whole wrench in the whole thing, because now the GFS is back to showing another little low pressure system popping up down here. This would be Tuesday, October 29th, a long way away. But, you know, it's starting to show another little system popping up going to the Yucatan the 28th, 8 days from now. But another front comes down, squashes it, and doesn't really do anything with it. Well, it kind of does something with it. It does. Okay, well, we'll just leave it there. Of course, we know never go past. I used to believe in 10-day model runs, but I don't believe anything past. Well, unless there was consistency. There's not consistency at all. Euro, nothing. We go out 10 days, October 30th. Look, GFS there, Euro, nothing. CMC, nothing. So just take the latest GFS for what it is, showing that we could have more low pressure down here trying to form a week from now. But hey, season doesn't end until the end of November, so anything's possible. Just putting it out there. In an overnight model, of course, didn't show it. So that's one of them cases you get. Now we do have a little system over here showing up. 384 hours out. But nothing at all to stress about. So that's that. All right, let me close this out. But so anyway, looking at the maps, we got we have Epsilon, got a name. We have let me go let's pull this up and then we'll take a break. Whoops, let's see, copy image address. There we go. So here's the tropics in a nutshell right here. Boom, we'll leave that up. Cooler weather come, Erica, soon. We got a cold front coming this weekend. You're gonna get cool. We can look at that for sure. Cold front should make its way down to upper panhandle. I don't think it's going to make it down into the peninsula. Why can I never remember what the heck model map? Let's see, model map. Hold on. It's All right, so our low coming, does it go out 7 days? I didn't run yet, darn it. Kind of make it way down, maybe October 5th, or wait, Sunday. So I don't know, you'll be low 60s maybe. This one doesn't really make it down, scratch that. So maybe 60s. So you're gonna drop maybe 3 degrees. So the weekend, you can't get your wood out yet. How about that? Hey, no tsunami effects, Linda. No, well, there might have been, but they switched it from like alerts, they call it, which is good news. And I read it. It was something to do with the type of earthquake it was. So, Jimmy, yeah, man, we listen. We joke about that. So what I've learned with doing this kind of stuff is, one, this Mississippi doesn't exist, and the Panhandle is not part of Florida. So Mississippians never get talked about, and the Panhandle isn't part of Florida. That's what everybody thinks. And yeah, Tammy, they are snoring. So yeah, this cold front isn't really going to make its way down. We looked at it a couple days ago. It looked like it might, but nope. We're going to keep muggy and wet in the south for a while. In fact, this whole week we have a summertime pattern. We've got a lot of alerts up for the East Coast, though. We have lots of rip currents, small craft advisories, strong winds coming in off the Atlantic. We have coastal flood advisories all the way up into Charleston because of these persistent winds. We have some in the Wilmington. And definitely this weekend, you're going to have a lot of alerts because we got these waves coming in from Epsilon. Jacksonville has coastal flood advisories. So just stormy day off the East Coast down to Miami. And there's a radar. We'll leave that up for a little bit. I'll show you that. Let me pull up this radar. Everybody likes this radar. This is like a Google Earth radar. It's really nice. So we'll leave that up. All right. So Laredo, yeah, Western North Carolina. Let's see, where would Western North Carolina be? The mountainous side. Beth, I think. Well, this weekend, I think we're just gonna be back to normal. But they got that front coming down. Let's look at some long range stuff. Everybody, we haven't done this in a while. We used to look at long range stuff. In the wintertime, we talk more about weather than tropics. But we can look at this front coming down. So this weekend, we got a front coming down. We'll see how far the rains extend out. Here is, so here it is. All right, so in a nutshell. Here is tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we have South Florida rains, tropical low pressure, front coming down. This front is going to pick up whatever's down here like that. And here it is on Saturday morning. And then our front doesn't really make it down. See, you can see the front. The front flattens out. The front flattens out. That's why we don't get any cool weather down south. So kind of, the weekend looks good for the Keys. Just normal spotty stuff. It's going to remain warm and muggy across the south. The front flattens out. So here's our midweek front. This is Saturday morning. Saturday morning, our front is here. That's why New York still has some nasty weather, as our fan was asking. But as far as down south, just typical kind of summery-ish feeling weather. Our next front comes down. This is the big one that might bring the snow now. This is the one. This is Monday. So we have a secondary front coming down Monday, and that's where the big snow could set up here in Oklahoma and Texas. And that's going to have a little bit bigger shot coming down into Florida. Look at that. So here's here's Wednesday morning. This is interesting. This is next week. So next week, Wednesday, this front looks like it's going to make its way down. And we could have rains across Florida here Wednesday into Thursday. There's a front. So there's a true front. Look at that. And look at that. Completely coming down south. This is next week. This is next Thursday, a week from Thursday. So our second front incoming could possibly make its way all the way through the south. Let's see what the temperatures would look like. And let's see. We'll go out. There. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, wow. All right, so maybe our first real cold front could make its way down. Look at that. So, back to the panhandle question. So this week's front doesn't do anything. It flattens out, right? But look what's coming. That's a pretty hefty duty sign on the GFS and the Euro. So there's a good chance that our first real cold front, this is October 29th, we could have 40s and 50s all the way into middle Florida as our front pushes south. It's a long way away, but still possibility. So there you go. Let's take a look at the CMC and see if it verifies. So 10 days out, we are looking at possible cold front. Let's see. Yeah, there it comes. It's a little slower, but you can see the signature. It's pretty big. Right there. And the GFS has a little faster. So there you go. 29th, 30th. So everybody in the Gulf Coast, look at this. Whoops, there's my sounding one. I do that every time. So all this for sure, as we near Halloween, we're going to be in the 40s. Looking very possible on 3 models. That's this time. That's like 8-9 days from now. So anyway, all right. So that makes sense. Let me see what you guys are chit-chatting about. Nothing new in the world, really. Check out my little flip flop. I bought this in Old Town. It's a magnet. $4.99 for a magnet. Look at that. $4.99. I live in Florida, but it said Orlando, and we like to put magnets on our little camper refrigerator, and of course I forgot to do it. So, yeah, Charlotte, I'll believe it when I see it. 10 days out is it's a long ways out. There's my little sticker I bought too, Old Town. I don't know why it's on my desk. Your gumbo recipe? Is that direct from Louisiana? I love gumbo, man. I love yes, Michael, tonight is the World Series, man. Glasnow is pitching for the Rays. Can't wait for that. I like Bubba Gump. Bubba Gump. They have some gumbo. Man, look at that. Does that make you hungry? Oof. Makes me hungry. Oh my God, I'd kill for some shrimp right now. We know Shrimp and Mike doesn't get along very well. Shrimp, Isaiah, remember? Isaiah, I had the injury. I had to have surgery. Tamara, 10% is the circle from the NHC. Model support is very back off of it. So it looks like rain for the Yucatan. And there's just a lot of shear down there. So it's going to be very hard to develop down there. And we have low-level circulation. There is no doubt we have low-level circulation. The problem is we have a lot of shear, cross-competing winds. You can see a little circulation actually right here. This is pretty much where our low pressure is right now. But lots of shear. You can see these cloud tops just whipping across there. So that was not in the forecast a week ago. That's why we could have been looking at development right now. But because we have shear is choking any chance of this wrapping up, at least for now. So, yep, no more AAP. What's up, AP Hoff? No more shrimp injuries. We've had an eventful season. Somebody can do a recap would be great. I was listening to the Weather Channel this morning, and they were talking about Bermuda and the storms that they've had. A couple of them, Paulette, and I can't remember the other one. But I'm like, everything is such a blur. Like I can't even remember. It's like we're 27 names now, 26 names. Yeah, popcorn shrimp is safe. Breaded popcorn shrimp. I can handle that. So, all right. Anything else? Good. We're good. We can write a book on the 2020 season. We can look it up on Wikipedia. See what it says. Here's the map. This would be the cool thing. This. I am not a history. This would be a project for Bobby Hurricane Harbor. Could you name? I can name obviously the ones that hit land. I see ECE. I see Laura. I see Sally. I see Hannah. Paulette maybe. I don't know. But what the heck, man? There's 2020 for you. I couldn't. We've talked about every single one of these. Can you believe that? I can't remember. Have Alexa read it. Yeah, Amber. I wonder what we could ask it. I made everybody's Alexa go off yesterday, so yeah, we could have a game show, Linda. Name that spaghetti. It'd be like a buzzer, like this storm had blah 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 blah. Let's check out our beer tracker. So, Big Storm had a great picture yesterday of me and Hunter. I was very impressed. This is our morning picture. So we're watching the news for a brief minute before Sarah gets on the bus, and I grabbed Louie, and she was doing the same to Hunter. Look at that. They take after each other. We love our Sarah. All right, so here's Big Storm. This is a great picture of Hunter, by the way. But what's so cool about this picture is look at how close Hunter looks to the can. Look at that. Same color. The same pose. Other than his tongue hanging out. We could draw a tongue on him. We can do a little tongue like this. Like that little tongue. There you go. It's pretty cool. But there's a storm tracker option here. So let's see. If they have a beer finder on their website. I don't think they have our beer on there yet. It's coming. So you'll be able to tab where it's at and see what store has it in stock. That's a little gimmick they got here at Big Storm. So you'll be able to track our beer and find out where it's at in Florida. I should have shaved though. I got one lonely gray hair. I didn't even shave. I didn't shave today. I'm not a big shaver, so. But it's a good picture. Yeah, we love the crew at Big Storm. All right, cool beans. So there's a map. We're watching Epsilon. I guess that's what it is. I don't even know how to say it. Let's make sure I'm saying it right. We haven't done this in a while. Epsilon pronunciation. Pronunciation. And I know I heard our song on there. Did I spell it right? Oh no, I spelled it wrong. Epsilon. Epsilon. Okay. Here we go. Epsilon. Oh, there's an L in it. Hell, I didn't even know. Did I do it right? I don't even know if I'm spelling the thing right. There's an L in it. Okay, here we go. Listen. Here we go.
So this sound is the same as...
They're explaining to you why it sounds the way it does.
If we move
I know we got music. I got all kinds of crap. I just wanted to know how to pronounce Epsilon, not the whole theory behind it. This guy, he's like...
Kefali means head.
So there's a minute 40 video on how to pronounce Epsilon.
A lot of people will pronounce this as Kefali.
How about we just get one how to pronounce it? Here's one. Here's another one. This is 46 seconds long. Here, let's see what this one says. Might be a little easier. There's nothing there yet. Here we go.
Also, don't confuse it with the quantum number epsilon.
Form is EIS. The Greek form is epsilon iota sigma, because of course the New Testament.
Oh, man. It's too complicated. How can they complicate how to pronounce something? Now we have theory on it. Like, why is Mike pronounced Mike? I don't know. Crazy. Epsilon. Yep, Epsilon. Cool beans. All right. Well, enough shenanigans. All right, so let's go to Twitter real quick, see what kind of weather advisories we got. I'm sure South Florida's got a bunch popping up. We had street flooding yesterday. Here's our tropical flow, Dabu, talking about it. That's a cool graphic here showing our connection of our systems here. Look at that. So, I don't know. Really nothing. Nothing cooking. World Series tonight, yes. Snow forecast. We talked about that. Big snow in Minnesota. We saw fall colors. We have marine statement just got posted a few minutes ago from Miami. Little race cars. Here's a winter outlook. I don't know if you saw this or not. Winter outlook for, it's kind of like the La Nina pattern that we talked about. So here's your temperature outlook for 2020. Winter. Going into 2021. Look at that. Warmer. See, remember the La Nina jet stream is a little higher to the north? Like that. So it's warmer to the south. That produces more rain. But dry rain. And here's a forecast for precipitation. Dry. There's your boundary. So we'll have more rain here than snow. And then wetter than normal up here. That which will mean snow. So this little boundary here might mean a little more rain than snow. But dry across the south. So drier, warmer winter is predicted across the south. Interesting. Cool. Anyway, all right. Yep, I remember Lorenzo. That was Gonzalo. Gonzalo and Lorenzo. You guys remember that stuff. Yep, Epsilon for 2 minutes. Well, that's like me doing a weather update for an hour for a 30-second tropical update. Anyway. Alright, so anything else we can chit-chat about? Big rains down south. Epsilon. Epsilon. I could have made a 1-second video on how to pronounce Epsilon. And Storm Prediction Center, nothing. So, yeah, pretty quiet day. That's always good to see. I'm going to work on Halloween stuff. I bought a new fog machine last night. I love the fog machine. We've got a strobe light and a fog machine. I never figured out how to make the fog machine cool. Now I figured it out. You got to put it around lights. And now they have remote controls for the fog machine. So I'm excited about that. So, all right. So skimboard forecast. Mike, where are you at, man? It's going to be, thank you, Mary. It's going to be pretty wavy day across the whole eastern seaboard this weekend. Epsilon bringing in some big waves, so I don't know if we can go. We can go 90 hours yet. I don't know if we can or not. I don't know if 90 hours covers. I don't know how far 90 hours goes. This is Friday, so you can start to see it though. So East Coast, this is Friday morning. So some of the waves from Epsilon will be making its way to the Florida East Coast, and then all weekend long, we're going to have increased surf along the East Coast. So this weekend, Friday, man, surf's on. Hey Amber, what's up? Thanks. Yeah, we'll talk weather all season. We like to talk about weather. That's a good graphic. I need to share that, I guess. We'll share the wave map too. It's going to be wavy across the eastern seaboard this weekend as Epsilon passes by. So cool. Anyways, all right, you guys rock. We've been 1 hour exactly. So wish Emily good luck tonight. She might be pitching her high school game. Maybe, we hope. Fingers crossed. Emmy just texted me, by the way. Is it going to rain? She is so excited about her game. Last week she couldn't play her first official game because the kid in her class had corona, so that she was on, a 10-day ban from school. Now she's worried about the rain. I'm like, no, baby, it's not going to rain. I do everything I can. I don't have a direct number to the rain gods, but it looks like the heavy stuff stays to our south. Let's take a look. This is my checking radar for Emily moment here for her softball. So it appears, we could have some isolated rains, but nothing that might ruin anything. So this spotty stuff, heaviest concentration more in the south, but definitely not what we saw yesterday. So that's at least kind of good news for her. Spotty rains. So we live up here by the Big T, Tampa. But yeah, hey, thanks everybody. Yeah, listen. So she started pitching at 6 years old, playing softball, and this was her first year of softball. This is in I can't play the music because I'll probably get banned off Facebook. But this is 2012, Oldsmar, and these are all her memories. Look at that, how little she was. I got so many cool videos of her growing up. But 12 years old, man, look at that. Or she was 6 years old. She was 6. That was 2012. She was 6 years old. 2012, 6 years old. There she is running the bases. Couldn't hit a ball to save her life. Look, there's Grandma and Grandpa. There's Sarah. There's Mama and Sarah. So I got all these memories. Look how little she was. It's so crazy. She was so little. She couldn't, look at that. Watch her try to hit a ball. She just swung, and the pitcher throws it all the way up into the 500 millibar atmosphere. There's Sarah, always her biggest fan. This is 2012, so that was a long time ago. And this is my favorite video of Emily ever. She was in the outfield pretending to pitch at 6 years old. And fast forward to this weekend. Here's me at. So that was 2012. And now here she was this weekend. Let me go to my timeline. So I did a little video yesterday. There's Hunter sleeping, by the way. Here's my beer. Where's he at? There it is. So fast forward this weekend. There she is. So 2012 to 2020 now. And it all comes down to her first night of high school. So pretty tearful. I never thought this day would come that she would be possibly playing high school. So I'll tell you all about it tomorrow. Either I'm going to be online bragging about it, or sick and on suicide watch. There she's hitting. So anyway, so there it is. Very anxious dad. For sure. All right. Well, you all have a great day. Thanks for letting me ramble on. I appreciate it. I'll let everybody know tomorrow how it goes. Like I said, if I'm online bragging tonight, that means she did good. If you don't hear from me, that means she did bad. So, as always, thanks everybody for your support and everything, and all the t-shirts and being a Facebook supporter. Things are going to slow down here eventually, promise. But still got a little bit to watch. So I'll be here tomorrow.